How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day. And as you can see, I've been covering more Meteor Maker, I've been playing it more, and I figured after doing some base building tips, I should give people some raider tips and some help with raiding. So that's what this video is going to cover, and it should be pretty basic, pretty quick, nothing too in-depth, just to give people some bearings, you know, give them some basic tips. First tip I have, as you're going to see I learned the hard way right here, check outside the base. Now you're going to watch what happens here. It's not pretty. I get ambushed from behind. I hear them, but it's too late. And you're wondering, well, how did they come from behind, might you ask? Well, I could tell you, but then you would make your base that way, right? But basically, if you check outside the base, you're going to see, like, weaknesses in the base. Sometimes people leave holes in their base because they're not thorough. Sometimes they, I don't know, they just do silly things, and you can exploit those. And other times, they will set ambushes for you outside their base. And one of the ambushes that was outside this base, I find out, is on the sides here. There's fake walls, and there is some guys behind them. One on each side. Now, the way these fake walls work is, you know, they disappear when you walk into them. They had a mod on the monsters that made it so when combat initiated, I believe it's called the Bloodlust mod, other nearby monsters will engage in combat. And these guys happen to be within that radius of the initial room, and they kind of ran up behind me and started attacking me. And that's how this person was able to pull off that little strat. Now, that's why checking outside is good. Also, going slow is also good. A lot of people, maybe early on, you try to rush bases or go very quick, and that's not always a good thing. If there's a kill pit or whatever they're called, you could probably get away with that logic because it's usually an open area and it's a huge arena. It's really big and you can just bunny hop, jump around, grapple around, get your gen mat and get out of there. But in a normal base that a normal person makes, that's a quick way to die. Always check left, right, up, down, center. Like, just always have your head on a swivel. Always, like, go forward, back up. Go forward, back up. Like, just do quick peeking, I guess you could call it, is what they use in other types of shooters. Quick peeking, or something along those lines, or whatever you want to say. But definitely do that, because you'll have less surprises and you'll have way more success. Now, retrieving ammo can also be dangerous. You do have a limited ammo supply. The most you can get right now on, like, your main gun is 4, the one that actually destroys traps. You do have a gun that only kills enemies, but it doesn't destroy traps. You get a little bit more ammo with that. But be careful where you shoot your bolts, where you put them, because at the end of the day, where you put them, you have to go get them. And they can go into a spot that's not good. A lot of people will take advantage of your need to get back your bolts, and they'll trap traps. What they'll do is they'll put a trap nearby within proximity to the trap you just shot with your bolt. And while you're going to retrieve that with your grappling hook or whatever, another trap triggers and kills you while you're attached to the other trap or whatever. So do keep in mind that is a common thing, and be mindful. If you can melee, melee. Melee whatever trap you can, whatever enemy you can, because sometimes enemies fall into weird spots or they go into different positions and you gotta go get your bolt. Do realize that that can be an issue, which then leads me on to the traps and monsters of the base. Try to take advantage of their positioning. Try to use them to kill each other. A lot of people, especially now that the game's fresh and new, a lot of people are killing their own traps, killing their own monsters. They're creating crossfires and they're destroying their own stuff. I don't know if they don't. I don't know if people just don't test bases before they put them up, or try to think like, hey, if I do this, you know, it's gonna hit this. But I can't tell you how many times I've had a trap kill another trap, a monster kill another monster. You know, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty good. Definitely take advantage of it if you can. If people are going to give you opportunities to take out their own stuff, then I suggest you use it. Which now leads me on to one of my final tips, and that is kind of related to melee. Don't underestimate melee. I did say try to melee as much as you can, but melee is very valuable. A lot of times it can hit weak points on monsters. I don't know if you know, monsters, you can put armor on them, right? And they can block a shot. Or 2. But it doesn't cover the whole body. Generally, their legs will be exposed, maybe their arms. There's a good number of monsters in the game. The flying ones, the regular dudes. You can clip them in the legs with your melee and they just drop. Now, if you hit them in the body, you actually bounce off them with your sword. So do keep that in mind if you fight armored units. Don't hit where the armor is. You'll just ting right off. You won't even damage the armor. So that's kind of my melee tip. Go for the legs. I know it's kind of weird. Or if you can actually shoot them in the head, shoot them in the head. The head is not armored either. So that's kind of like a melee armored tip. Be mindful of where you're shooting armored units. Head or legs are generally where you're going to want to... You can even shoot them in the legs and it'll drop them, which makes the armor useless. So, you know, is it still good to use armored units? I still use them, but I feel like if you do it that way, you can at least get away from, you know, some of the stuff. And you know what? I actually have a little bit of a bonus tip, which really wasn't what I was going to cover. But you know how there's the second wave? Once you grab the Gen Mat, more traps and stuff can spawn. When you're getting ready to grab the Gen Mat, anticipate where you think traps are going to show up. Anticipate your escape, and then move into position. As you can see here, there's a trap that just appeared. And look, a guy came out of a fake wall. You know, one of those transparent walls, and he was sitting there the whole time. So do be mindful of when you're making your escape, where any kind of second wave stuff can appear and go, because you can get pretty well ambushed by it, and a lot of people rely on that sometimes to take you out. They will have so many hidden traps around the Gen Mats that when you pick it up, you're just surrounded, you know. So keep in mind that you will do better. Just plan your escape, slow down. But okay, I'm going to grab it, and then I'm going to go down here, or I'm going to go over here. You know, do that, and you will find a little bit better success on your escape routes. So hopefully you found these tips helpful. I know they're not the greatest tips in the world. They're not the most advanced. Very basic, very simple, but these will help you, I'm sure, do a little bit better on your raids, be a little more successful, because, you know, there's a lot more to this game than meets the eye, and I don't even have everything figured out, and there's probably way more tips and advice you can get out there. So, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please let me know down below in the comments. Any questions or comments you have about the game, feel free to drop them as well, and I'd be glad to help anybody out. Until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. Peace out. Have a good one.